Ammo, range, utility, boss melting, ad clearing, whatever type of fusion rifle you're looking for, it can be found in the Destiny 2 final update. I'm Legola Flash, and this is your guide on where to find them all, what the new perk pools and stats are, and which updated fusion rifles you simply must try in PvE and PvP. Let's start with the rapid fires. Cartesian is dropping from the EDZ, and the tip here for getting the weapons that you can find on a planet is very simple. So don't do the distortion events, but you want to do the public events on the planet that the distortion is happening on. If you go do the actual distortion events after the public events, you're just going to get distortion weapon drops, and that's not what you're looking for. You just want to do the public events. Now the key here is, instead of going around and doing distortion type stuff, what you want to do while you're waiting for those public events is open the chests. Every single god roll I got from a Cartesian looking for testing these weapons out was from opening the chest during a distortion. The drop rates just go significantly higher, and I don't even like, I feel like I had them drop from chests outside of distortion events, but it just didn't happen very frequently. So on the EDZ, if you see a distortion event happening, go grind out a Cartesian coordinate. It's pure luck between, out of all those pools, you can't select this weapon and then just get a bunch. It's pure luck, pure RNG, but totally worth it. This is one of my favorite fusion rifles of all time, and it is juiced with the perks. Now the one bummer here is it's stuck with a sights. You can't choose sights anymore, it's just barrel. So it's stuck with the sights that we don't normally care for because it only has a zoom of 15. Previously, we could push it to a zoom of 17. And the other thing to note is that the range doesn't get quite as high as some of the other rapids do, like Zealot's Reward, Null Composure, and even the Beacon and Riptide now, which is, I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, Cartesian coordinates is amazing regardless because of one thing, and that is the aim assist value. The aim assist on every other fusion rifle, this is 60. Compare it to any other fusion rifle, 38. Riptide, 31. Specifically any rapid fire fusion, it's not going to get close. The Beacon, 38. We're talking 60 aim assist out the gate. That's incredible. No matter how you deck out the fusion, it's going to feel good. Now, one thing that I did notice previous to this update is anytime that I tried to get a roll without under pressure, it just didn't feel great. I think that probably remains true. The difference here is we also have Discord, which I cannot believe that they finally gave us a Discord rapid fire fusion rifle. This is the only rapid fire fusion rifle with Discord, and that's a really big deal, especially when you have a rapid fire with 60 aim assist. So check out what happens here. This is the roll that I got. All range gets you to 70 range just base. You add in closing time, and that is up to 10 range. So it's halved on special weapons. So 5 to 10 range. If you're on your last shot, it's going to be really close to that 10 range on all of those bolts. Any perk like this works per bolt. So remember that. It's a gradual per bolt increase. But closing time, basically this puts you close to 80 range on a rapid fire, just like that. So even if you get under pressure, that's amazing. It's still really good. The reason you would use this over something like Zealots, or like the craftable Zealots, or even craftable iterative loot, scatter signal, we'll get to those, or the Beacon, is due to that aim assist and the way that feels for you. So maybe mouse and keyboard players, maybe you won't care about that as much, but it feels magical if you're on controller. And what I want to say with that too is with Discord closing time, I wouldn't go for things like successful warm-up personally. It's fast enough. You're probably just going to mess up your shot if you're trying to do that with variable speeds. Just with closing time, pushing that range, because one thing to remember here is every single fusion rifle is so good now and so stat package maxed out that you want to get to as close to 100 range as possible to be able to compete with the other fusion rifles faster than a rapid. So 80 range with unlimited range if you play it right. For those who don't know, Discord, it's not just unlimited ammo. Like, yes, that's a part of it if you get a kill and swap to it. It's also the full effect of standard under pressure. So if I just standard this, so 25% accuracy cone size, that is, under pressure is like up to that, to your last bolt. So it's a variable Discord is not variable. It is 25% decreased accuracy cone size 100% of the time that you have it up for every single bolt going through. And then your ADS, animation duration's faster, so you can get ADS faster, and you get airborne effectiveness. So there's a lot of different things going on there. But the main thing that I want to say is, yeah, the accuracy cone size and the unlimited ammo here is huge. And also the time that this is active for. So you have, it used to be like 8 seconds and 8. It used to be very, very long, but it's shorter now. So now you have, after you get a kill, you can wait to swap for 5 seconds, and then you have 8 seconds after that to get unlimited ammo kills at 80 range on a rapid fire. Absolutely insane. For PvE, I want to point out that Discord's big on a rapid 2 here. Like, you could clear out ads really well with something like Reservoir Burst, or even Incandescent on unlimited ammo fusion rifle. That's a pretty big deal. Other options here are you can load Envious Arsenal, Reconstruction, or Lead from Gold into your aggregate charge, Vorpal, Control Burst rolls, or even Reservoir Burst, because Reservoir Burst has a pretty big damage buff now too. Yeah, 27.5% extra damage compared to something like Control Burst is only 20%, but you also get that 10% decreased charge time. So each has its own benefit, with aggregate charge being the biggest buff you can get now, 33%, which I think aggregate charge is the unique thing here. I don't think that many fusion rifles have that. Next up is Null Composure, and this is a complete hidden gem. Like, I cannot believe they brought this back. I know for some, maybe it was kind of eye-rolling. Like, people think of it as the PvE type pinnacle weapon, but really, I always found it to be very good in PvP. The main problem with it is you couldn't choose your perks. It was just like a set roll, and the roll just happened to be decent for what it was. Really surprising. But what's really cool about it now is it's actually the highest range rapid fire you can possibly get. There's nothing higher than this unless you're stacking well-rounded on iterative loop, which doesn't happen for you. You have to spec into that a lot. Just at like base, just doing nothing. You get 81 range at base, and that's not even adding in closing time. So you add in closing time, and you're hitting close to 90 range on a rapid fire fusion rifle. And while you don't have under pressure or anything, this Null Composure feels pretty good. You have a little bit of extra zoom at 16. Most other rapid fires are at 15. Most other fusions in general are at 15. So you get a little bit extra zoom. Zoom doesn't actually extend damage fall off, but it does extend your aim assist to where you can hit the target a little bit better. It's really good on fusion rifles, and they kind of unleashed zoom a little while ago to go crazy again. Previously, it didn't have all its effects completely, and they unleashed it. And so yeah, zoom's really good now. So zoom 16 plus the highest range fusion, the actual furthest damage fall off you can get at base. This is a very good fusion rifle. I got my overflow, closing time, hammer forge roll already. I know it's only 78 range, but almost 90 range once you add in closing time, and it feels great. It feels really good. I'm not sure how they all stack up against each other, but I can say that this one is very, very solid. Easy recommend. Now, Null Composure is super easy to get. You just attune it for your pinnacle drops and go in to the pinnacle activities and wait for Null Composure to show up as the featured weapon. You can try to grind it out even if it's not the featured weapon and do just random, oh, there's 3 drops, 3 drops from this and plus 3 bonus drops, and attune it and get some drops that way. You can absolutely do that. But the best way that I found, and the way that I got my god rolls, actually, because I was doing that, I was farming every single day trying to get it, no drops, and then it showed up as the featured one for Onslaught, which is a long activity, but you get rewards throughout it. And so I got like 7, 8, 5 tier Null Composures by just one run, and in that one run I got my god roll. So that is the way that I would recommend you do it, because your chance of getting those drops is so high between the attunement and it being the featured weapon. And this is definitely one to go for. It also has the accelerated assault, so for PvE, that is crazy good because it just auto reloads your weapon for just scoring hits. It's just putting stuff back in your mag and making you feel like you can fire forever, even without something like Envious Arsenal Reconstruction. But you run something, actually that's a really good combo, is running something like Envious Arsenal and elemental honing or control burst or reservoir burst, something that needs to be kind of at the top of the mag. And this will, well, not reservoir burst because that's not top of the mag. Control burst or elemental honing with Envious Arsenal and Accelerated Assault. So it just keeps reloading even when you're not reloaded from swapping weapons. If you're running something like Reservoir Burst, then you'd want to run Reconstruction. And Accelerated Assault, probably, I haven't tried this yet, but I don't think it would kick in because you're overflowed. But yeah, some really cool PvE stuff because of Accelerated Assault. It's just an incredible perk. And for PvP, just the highest range you could possibly hit. It feels great. It's got a bit of extra zoom. I'm not going to talk about Riptide because we already covered it and nothing's changed. I am going to talk about Beacon for a second, only because I haven't covered it, and two, it's in the Monuments of Triumphs Ingram, which you will get a lot of and be able to spend a lot of from your legendary shards tokens. I can't remember what they're called, but at the Monuments of Triumphs, you can just go for 5-tier beacons, and there's really great rolls between Lone Wolf and Overflow. I like pairing both of these with Closing Time. Yes, you can use Envious Arsenal for PvE or rewind rounds led from gold. All incredibly great stuff, but my personal favorite, Lone Wolf and Overflow with Closing Time on a rapid fire with some very, very high range. This is, you know, up to 83 range on a rapid is incredibly good. I was actually playing around with this as I was trying to get new rolls of the new drops, and it's just a solid fusion rifle. It feels so good when you're maxed out on your range. I was only using Overflow. I wasn't even using Lone Wolf just for that high action per minute, reloading and fighting continually. Felt amazing. So yeah, Moments of Triumph is where you can grab several rolls of this, and I highly recommend you do so to try it out and see what you think. Not going to talk about Lionfish either. You can grab that one, I think, from the Gunsmith now. Zealot's Reward is worth talking about. A lot changed here. So think about this for a second. This is our first crafted weapon that we're coming back to. Now, previously, we could not put Adepts on this. We could not enhance these perks right here. This was not a tier 5. We could only enhance these ones, I believe. And now we can enhance these. And we've got some extra perks here. Withering Gaze, Dimensional Shift, Repulsor Brace are all new. And we already had Closing Time, but the big difference here is enhancing these perks to me. Because now you get plus 12 range here instead of plus 10, which I do like going for Hammerforge when I can to not lose any stability. And then add in the Masterwork, the new tier 5 Masterwork with enhanced range, and you're up to 71 range. It's very close to the Beacon. The difference is you have enhanced under pressure here, whereas the Beacon did not have that, and neither did Null Composure. So really it's Cartesian Coordinate and Zealots are the two that are kind of competing with each other now. If you're just going for a straight up under pressure roll, they're super, super close. 70 range versus 71 range. And Zealots has always kind of been everyone's go-to. The difference for me, and I'm not going to say like for sure one over the other yet, because Zealots has magic sauce to it that I can't explain and no one can. And Cartesian has 60 aim assist, which is also magic sauce. So they both have the Destiny touch, but now I can go with unlimited ammo for Cartesian, and that kind of separates them a little bit in my mind. Now, the one that actually feels very in line with those two is actually Iterative Loop. I'm going to jump to that one for a second because it's also very, very close. If I run the same Hammerforge setup here, exact same under pressure closing time perk, it's 72. So they're all very, very aligned here. Now, there is some interesting stuff happening here. Not only did closing time get added, but for PvE, supercharged magazine got added here, while amplified ammo is gradually transferred from reserves to the magazine. So I'm not gonna like compare it with Volt Shot or anything. I'm not gonna combine it with that. But with control burst and supercharged magazine, if you're getting yourself amplified, I mean, there might be something there. I also like kind of want to revisit Slick Draw and Closing Time. I haven't done this yet. I only checked how solid this was with the new enhanced perks getting to 72. But I actually want to go back and try Slick Draw because they recently buffed it to not hurt you so bad on the aim assist penalty. And if you're getting up to 72 range and have no problem with handling is super, super fast, that could be interesting. I definitely want to try that out. Now, for Iterative Loop, Zealot's Reward's a raid weapon, so I don't need to talk about that. But for Iterative Loop, if you're going for a crafted weapon that you don't have the crafting abilities for, what I would do is recommend you check out Sax. Sax has a spreadsheet that he's been working on. He's an amazing YouTuber and podcaster. I've been on his show, and he's just a super nice guy. And he's been working on this spreadsheet that shows you where you can get all legendary loot from. And within that, I went ahead and filtered out. You make a copy of this, and you can filter out what exactly you're looking for. And craftable weapon sources, you can go through and just say clear all, just fusion rifles, and boom, here we go. Here's where to get all your stuff. So within this iterative loop, you can just grab it from Neomuna. That one's easy. Some of these other ones are a little bit harder to find, and we'll walk through those as we get to them. So Scatter Signal is one of those weapons. Scattered Signal was one of my favorite when it came out because of this origin trait. It's a big part of it. Whenever you get critical health or somebody dies, you get 5+ range and 10 handling, which is great because it's really hard to get range on a fusion rifle. And so when you add in all the enhanced perks to this, you're at 72, just like the others. The bummer is you don't have under pressure. So perpetual motion is kind of perpetual motion or surplus, which I definitely want to go perpetual motion. You're not sitting around with a rapid fire fusion. So that or overflow, but I think perpetual motion kind of evens this one out. And actually previously I would go full bore on scattered signal because perpetual motion kind of balances out what's happening with full bore. In the stability side, you're getting, if you're running around a lot, that's plus 20 stability, which is great when you hit stack 2. So it doesn't hurt you so bad for going something like full bore. It makes up for that and even adds a little stability. So and then you don't have closing time here either. They didn't update the perk pool at all. But Under Over is a great perk for fighting players with Woven Mail, or if they're in a rift or anything like that. 22% increase against other players with overshields or Woven Mail. It's amazing. Now, it only lasts as long as that overshield is up. So if they have an overshield, it's only going to hit them for so long with that extra damage. But if they're in a rift that's continually giving them overshield, bye. They're gone. So all in all, like that 75 range plus somebody goes down, you're at 80 range. It's close to what closing time is, but I pit all these against each other because I just wanted to see. I had the best versions of all of them. And Iterative, Zealots, the Beacon, Riptide, Null, and Cartesian all felt really good in different ways. Scatter Signal kind of lagged behind a little bit. And I think it's because it's just very niche in what it can do with Under Over. And I think it's really cool in PvE to have such a great fusion with Slice or Overflow and some of these perks like Deconstruct and Under Over. But these other ones, they feel great. But we've still got more to cover because this looks like all that's been updated. But here's the secret is you actually want to look at craftable stuff too, like the old craftable stuff. And I talked about these, but I didn't talk about Likely Suspect, and it actually got new perks as well. They added Destabilizing and Repulsor Brace, Dimensional Shift, Collective Action to Likely Suspect. Now, I don't think this changes much for pretty much anything. I can't think of a reason I would run this in PvE unless you really just needed a Destabilizing, Repulsor Brace, Fusion, and you like rapid fires. But to me, it doesn't really stand out. And then in PvP, it just really struggles in the stats category. Yes, it can get up to a similar range stat, but it doesn't have really any PvP perks. So I wouldn't put too much time into looking into Likely Suspect again. Okay, another category I'm super excited about is the adaptive frame fusion rifles. There's a lot of them here. Dreambreaker is the moon fusion, so you can get this just like Cartesian Coordinate on the EDZ. You can get Dreambreaker on the moon. Go for the public events. Do not go for the distortion events unless you just want to risk it because there's just a lot of distortion weapons in the loot pool there. I would just do the public events, and while distortions are active, go and open chests. Now, this one's really cool because you got, if you like sliding, you got Slideways and Slide Shot together, which is ridiculous. Or Kickstart and Slide Shot. I think this is great. Just so you know, Slideways is not that great of a fusion perk. It's fine. 17 stability. That's like, okay. Slide Shot is 22 stability and range. and range. So, and it refills your mag. Both of these do. So slide shot is definitely the one you want to go for if you're sliding around a lot. Plus 20 range, plus kickstart, plus start adding up all this range here on an adaptive. All of a sudden, you're at 100 range while sliding with more damage with a faster charge time. So that's a cool roll. That's not the way that I play, but if you like sliding around, this is definitely the fusion for you. I actually can't think of another one. I know people love Iterative Loop, but this is going to hit further and harder. So outside of that, what's also really cool to me is we've got Under Pressure and Lone Wolf here together, which I don't think is available on any other fusion rifle. And I haven't tried this one out yet, actually. It's the one fusion rifle that I really want to try that have just not gotten a good roll of yet. So Under Pressure and Lone Wolf getting you you don't have closing time here, so you can't hit the range of some of the other adaptives, but I think your accuracy through the aim assist and your accuracy cone size here, you're going to be able to hit some pretty crazy shots. I don't think there's too much to write home about PvE wise here. It all looks pretty standard with your lead from gold reconstruction, but there is something to be said for just auto sliding and reloading your gun while using something like Frenzy or Desperate Measures, Burning Ambition, Control Burst, but I can't see anyone really going after any of these things. Now, I think Dreambreaker is probably one of the lowest ones on the adaptive frame pool here. VS Gravitic Arrest is one that I'm very excited to grind out. This is another one I haven't got the roll for yet, but I know what this fusion feels like, and I already love it at its base version without these enhanced perks. They did add Dimensional Shift, and I believe Control Burst is the other addition here, which is cool. It already had Withering Gaze, so Dimensional Shift could be something you could add in with Withering Gaze here, but I think this is a PvP fusion rifle. To me, I love this thing, and I think that if you combine Under Pressure with Closing Time, this was one of the first adaptives to get that combo, and then combine it here with a bunch of range, you're hitting 93 range, 96 range with Closing Time, depending on how you set this up, and that's a crazy good deep shot fusion, and more importantly, it just feels very nice and consistent for me. Sometimes I feel like rapid fires, it's a lot of bolts to keep up with. This is 7 bolts versus the 9 on rapid fires, and it feels very easy to hit your shots once you put some range on one of these. So solid combo. I've been waiting for this dungeon to become Vesper's Host is where you get it, and I've been waiting for it to be the featured activity so I can easily farm tier 5 VS Gravitic Arrest. But what I'm even more excited for is Iron Banner coming up and the fusion rifles from Iron Banner, because we got Wizened, Rebuke, and Pressurized Precision, and it's hard for me to choose which one I'm going to focus because they're both going to be really, really good. Probably best fusion rifles in the game type good. I can confidently say that because I still use my non-tier 5 version that isn't even a perfect roll. And I didn't mess with the masterwork on it when the masterwork glitch came around because I knew that this was going to be farmable. I knew you could focus it, and you're going to be able to get Discord and Rangefinder on your fusion rifle to get it up to 100 range on a Discord adaptive fusion rifle, which blows my mind. It's going to be really, really good. I have used this probably more than any other fusion rifle in the game since it came out, the original version of this, because it's just so solid utility. It just lacked the range, and so I would end up going to Zealot's Reward or VS Gravitic Arrest, which we were just talking about, or one of those other fusion rifles that I could hit deeper shots with. But the utility of this one is what I came back to, and now that I can have this in my kinetic top slot, and if I want to use primary weapons there, I can use Cartesian coordinate in my energy slot. Is going to be a great back and forth. I know they'll be a little different, but this one's going to feel so very solid. Now, of course, you could go Closing Time as well here. I think shrinking your accuracy cone is really good there. The only difference is Closing Time is not going to give you that plus 10 range all the time. Remember, it's a linear 2, whereas Rangefinder is going to extend your aim assist fall off distance and by increasing your effective zoom, and it's going to give you plus 10 range all the time, plus 5 handling randomly. This closing time will feel like more handling as you're using it, but rangefinder is going to give you that plus 10 range all the time. I think either are going to be good. I'd be totally happy with either of these rolls, and it's Destiny, so you'll probably only get one for a while if you get one at all. But yeah, Discord closing time. And if you want just a solid fusion rifle, of course, you can go this way. But I'm really focusing on the unique things here, and Discord's going to be the unique one on Pressurized Precision. It's what I'm excited about. But really, like, if you like this model and you like the way it feels, it's got everything you could want between closing time, rangefinder, high impact reserves. Firmly planted if you crouch a lot is really, really, like, it's better than any of these other accuracy buffs you could get, I think, even being halved, because it's so consistent. And then if you are on the go all the time under pressure or lone wolf, if you're looking for aim assist, like, you can just customize this thing however you want depending on the role that you get. But yeah, I'm for sure going for one of these ones. Also, I should say, weapon kills, giving you enhanced radar and removing you from enemy radars for 10 seconds is a very good perk as well. Amazing weapon all around, PvP specific, amazing weapon. You can still get Burden of Guilt. The only reason I'm even bringing it up is not because something's changed here, but because Chill Clip is here, and there's another weapon we're going to get to later that I'm like, I don't even understand why it's here, because we got Chill Clip on Burden of Guilt. But we'll get to that in a second. And then I want to shout out Afterlight too. This also did not change. This is the most unfortunate thing. They brought back other weapons from this season, but did not bring back the other adaptive frame with Discord here. And I never got the perfect roll. And it's also like, if they would redo this, I would use it over Pressurized Precision, I think. I just really like the way this thing feels. And if they would have enhanced these perks, it could have actually kept up with those fusion rifles, but they didn't, and it's not back. I just wanted to say that it is a really cool fusion rifle, and that it's really hard to get. There is no activity to farm this in. It's one of the only seasonal weapons there is no activity to farm fusion in. You just have to get lucky and hope that Xur sells one, or you get one from one of his engrams that's an adept. That's the only way. Okay, let's talk crafted for a second within the adaptive frames, because both of these are pretty cool. Techeun, of course, has been, for several seasons, it was the king of fusion rifles. It just felt so good. And now that the perks are all enhanced, it's feeling even better, because you've got rangefinder still, which is increasing your range to get up to that 100 range mark if you want to, or you can go hammer forge and not losing that stability, 98 range all the time with under pressure. It's just incredibly solid. I did take this one out and recraft it and enhance everything, and it felt fantastic. They also added perks for PvE. Aggregate charge is on this one too, which I imagine is pretty good for something like Reconstruction or Demo. One of these kind of perks that would help you have that ammo up to use aggregate charge of that 33% damage buff. But personally, I mean, it felt super solid. I can't wait to compare and judge all of these against each other, best of the best, because Techeun Force is going to be up there. It's really, really good. Right there with Burden of Guilt and Pressurized Precision. Now, Techeun Force is from a raid, so you'll have to go to Last Wish to get that one if you don't have it knocked out yet. Okay, Royal Executioner has never been one of the best because the stats don't really line up and the perks aren't really anything you would use on a typical fusion basis. Like, yes, it had its time in the sun for PvE, using Envious Assassin to super stack up charges and use with Incandescent. But there's a lot of other options right now, and maybe someone will find a use for that in PvE. But for PvP, the really cool thing here that the enhanced perks help out with is getting that range up just enough. This is crazy. Just enough to use Killing Wind, which gives you plus 20 range on a kill, and then add it onto Offhand Strike to get you to that 100 range on your second shot. You'll have 100 range adaptive speed fusion rifle with 45% increased damage fall off hip firing, plus Killing Wind also increases your damage fall off distance 5%, which previously you could do this combo, but you couldn't max out your range to go past what is allowed in the game. Now you could hit the max to where you can't go any further with your damage and then have 2 perks double on top of each other to push out your shot further than anything should ever go. I haven't tried this out yet, but it exists. I wanted you to know about it. Tag me in a clip. It's going to be fun. Royal Executioner is available from the Avalon. I don't know. I just realized he's linked his own YouTube. So yeah, go check out Sax. It looks like he's linked his YouTube how to do Avalon here. That is the exotic encounter you need to do, and you need to check. This is really important. This is why Sax's list is really cool here, is because he's noted which one in the node of where you select your activity. You have to go to Classic Collector as a selected option to get old gear from that exotic activity, and Royal Executioner will be one of the frames that drop. You do those on where you would get normal 5-tier stuff, and it will give you like 1 to 2 deep sights so that you can craft these weapons. Once you get 5 of them, then you can craft it and do whatever you want. So go to Avalon if you don't have this one yet. You can knock it out by checking off the Classic Collector in the menu. Now let's move on to precisions, because there's some incredibly crazy cool stuff with precision. So let's go to the precision frames. We've got plug 1, main ingredient returning, and a brand new fusion. Let's talk about the brand new fusion, because this thing is super slick looking. It looks amazing. Now, unfortunately, I'm not really going to recommend it for PvP. I think it's fine if you want to go this route and deck it out to with rangefinder to get plus 10 range on this, so that you can go like charge time instead here to hit almost 100 range and go a little bit faster, because the precisions they're feeling a little slow these days. I know they were just buffed slightly, but they still feel a little slow to me. They're okay for sure, but you have to really be like hitting 100 range and feeling incredible to compete against the other precisions. So we'll talk about that in a second. But first, I also want to say that, yes, it has the featherweight origin trait to increase movement speed. I do really like that, because there is no lightweight fusion rifle, and I really wish they would have added one, and this is as close as we're going to get to that. But you do have to get a kill before it starts feeling that way. All that said, this is one of my favorite PvE fusion rifles now, because it has the combo that Axial Lacuna had of cornered and surrounded. There's some high impacts that have that, but they feel so slow sometimes, and cornered and surrounded, it just hits so hard. And because this is strand, you can stack this on top of all your strand stuff, and since we have all the artifacts to play with, you're constantly making tangles, you're constantly sending out hatchlings. Even if you don't have hatchling here, you can stack up your artifacts so that you're doing a lot of crazy stuff with this. It also has aggregate charge here, which is worth noting for sure, because you can run overflow and aggregate charge. But I'm having so much fun with cornered surrounded, especially grinding all those public events where there's enemies just everywhere. And a lot of the activities in this final update revolve around just tons of ads around you and keeping your health up while doing massive damage and ad clearing, and this combo goes crazy once you stack some artifact stuff. Now, of course, I have it spec'd out for PvP right here. I wouldn't recommend this. I would go more for something like enhanced battery, charge time on both of these, because it doesn't hurt your speed. You don't want to use accelerated or liquid. I think more battery is definitely the play, unless you're doing reservoir burst, and then something like small bore. Hammer Forge is fine too, anything with handling. Great PvE fusion. I love it. You can get it from SRL, and it's fantastic. Now, rewinding back to some updated fusion rifles here. We've got plug 1 and main ingredient. I have so many people asking me about main ingredient, so let's start there. Main ingredient does have accelerated assault, and I've seen a lot of in-game PvE players going for gear shift now, which reloading after final blow or just becoming amplified grants a longer period of increased damage, and it stacks up to 5 times. I believe Gear Shift is considered one of the best PvE perks right now, and I think one of the reasons for that is not only the high damage, but how easy activation is with Amplified, and how it can be triggered through stow. So you can be using another weapon, become Amplified, and when you swap to this fusion rifle, you will have Gear Shift up to ×5, depending on what all you've done beforehand. So in a lot of boss damage videos I've seen, they're running Gear Shift, they're running something like Lead from Gold or Trickle Charge, which receiving Bolt Charge refills up to 10% of the magazine, and discharging Bolt Charge refills 20% of the magazine. So between this reloading, this increased 35% damage, and you get Accelerated Assault, which is also reloading your magazine, pretty insane. Now, swapping to PvP, I do want to bring our attention to Nadir Focus being here, which adds a little bit of range as you're firing the weapon. But you have to have the weapon out for that, so keep that in mind. But it is still a good perk. And then also, speaking of range, we have Rangefinder here, which, yes, tap the trigger is amazing. And this is where it's tough. It's like, you're going to hit 100 range here, like, no matter what. It's pretty easy to do. And without Rangefinder, I can hit it while running a Charge Time Masterwork already without Rangefinder. And so that leads me to want to stack things like Under Pressure and Tap the Trigger and a Charge Time Masterwork, hit almost 100 range, and have just insane accuracy. That's really, really good. The difference here is you could also run Rangefinder and go a little bit faster. So that way the Rangefinder is adding plus 10 range to your 88 range, and you still have Under Pressure. So it feels great, and you're firing a little bit faster between Enhanced Charge Time and the Masterwork Charge Time. So there's different ways to set it up, and this is where it comes into like what feels good to you. Do you need that little bit extra charge time, or do you want it to just be as completely sticky and on point as possible and run Tap the Trigger, Under Pressure, and a Range Masterwork instead to get to 100 range? And that's where it's going to come down to you as a player. We started there with that Fusion after Accelerando, but it goes much further than that. So many of these are updated. So let's talk about Plug 1. This is the one that I need to spend more time with, because I kind of was really excited about it when the first revision of this came out last year, I believe it was, with Lone Wolf, and I haven't been that big of a fan of it. I thought I really would be, and it just hasn't impressed me that much. So I need to get a better roll of this and really try it out to see how it's feeling, because I think there's a lot of potential here to have a lot of stability from Under Pressure and something like Small Bore, still maxing out your range. Or actually, yeah, with Small Bore, and you don't even have to go all range. You can run Charge Time in one of these slots, range in one of these slots, still run something like Small Bore, and like Closing Time, finalize your range to 100. That's really, really good. But it never feels like I feel like it looks on paper to me, even though it has 17 zoom, which is also worth pointing out. Most Fusion rifles are at that 15 zoom, and that 70 zoom is going to help you connect your shots at further distances, even if it's not pushing damage fall off. So really great Fusion rifle. I don't think it's anything to write home about in PvE, but for PvP, it's really good on paper. I just can't speak to the effectiveness for me, because last time I was pretty disappointed in it. But on paper, really great. Main ingredient's definitely going to be the automatic, feels amazing Fusion for now, but Plug 1 on paper is really good. Now I want to get to some of my favorite stuff. We're outside of the new updated stuff for precision frames, but I want to talk about the crafted weapons here, because this is very exciting. All of this is very exciting. Axial, Lacuna, Epicurean, Deliverance. I don't even know which one to start with, because I like all of them a lot. I tried all of them and I rearranged some stuff, and it's really good. Okay, let's start with Deliverance, because this is the one that's blowing my mind. Specifically, adding Lone Wolf here with Tap the Trigger it's so good, because you can run. I'm running Range, Small Bore, the Charge Time, Lone Wolf, Tap the Trigger, and this thing just connects you. This thing connects shots for you. And the reason why is because Lone Wolf is giving you just an automatic +6 aim assist. I'm running this with 2 targeting mods too, which I can't input here, I don't think. But 2 targeting mods, that's like, I think that's 7 or 8 aim assist extra. This is 6, 11 when I'm on my own. So I'm just going to say it's 7 more. That's 18 range right here. No, I'm pretty sure it's 8. So I'm going to say the 2 targeting mods is 8. I'm adding that on to 11 here with Enhanced Lone Wolf when I'm on my own. That's plus 19 aim assist on top of a really high aim assist number already. So that brings us to what, 86 aim assist? 86 aim assist. That's getting so close to max aim assist with 100 range, with a charge time to make it a little bit faster for a precision frame, and tap the trigger to help me with my stability, even though it's only a little bit extra. It's not like a ton, but tap the trigger is still really, really good. Now you could, if you wanted to, had a lot of ammo and you were used to maintaining your ammo, I wouldn't blame anyone for going successful warm up here and being able to get those follow-up shots really, really fast. That's felt good for me in the past with Deliverance. But tap the trigger is mind-blowingly good, combined with Lone Wolf, the charge time, all that aim assist and range stacked here. It's unbelievable, truly. Now in PvE, I also want to say that Crystalline Corpse Plume and Chain Reaction, what a funny combo to add here. Really cool. I haven't tried it out yet, but that's awesome. You've also got Chill Clip and Crystalline Corpse Plume. That way you're slowing people and freezing them just over and over again. So both of those sound good. Now, I don't know that I would go for this over some of the other options that we talked about already, but very good. Where to get Deliverance? You get this one from the Val raid. I know you got to go back in and do Val. Fortunately, I had those knocked out already, but it is really nice to just be able to craft it and try it out different ways once you have it done. Now, the other two precision fusion rifles. Let's talk Epicurean next, because this one's really cool because it's unique. Now, main ingredient used to be the main backup plan weapon, and I actually do like backup plan on precision frames. They fire very fast, and with Epicurean specifically, with these enhanced perks, you can go and zoom with a charge time masterwork here and still hit almost 100 range. I mean, you can if you go this way, but going all range with charge time masterwork here, you're hitting 98 range with backup plan. And then you can take something like surplus to actually give you up to 25 stability on top. So you're hitting, what, 80? If you have all your abilities up, 80 stability plus 98 range plus backup plan, giving you that super fast pull it out and shoot someone at almost 100 range. Like, that is ridiculous. I tried it out with rangefinder before and it was very good. You could run the double charge time, let rangefinder make up for the range, 100 range. It just doesn't have up or anything like that. So to me, it's not the most interesting way to just have a standard fusion rifle. Backup plan is the unique thing here, and it's really cool to see all these enhanced perks in here to let you hit that 100 range and bust out the backup plan super fast fusion rifle. It takes people by surprise. You have to learn how to pull it out at the right time, but it's pretty epic. For the Epicurean, this one is from Duality, so you just go in that dungeon to farm it out. You can just do the first encounter. That's the way I've done it before. Okay, finally, this is the other laser beam, very similar to Deliverance. You can run Keep Away with closing time, the double charge time, and I think I was running Hammerforge with the double charge time. And then the other thing I want to try is actually going accelerated on all of this and going ridiculously fast while still hitting 100 range or very close to 100 range with keep away and closing time. That seems like that could actually be good. We'll have to try that out and see if the damage matches up. The other option here that I think is really cool is they added Slick Draw, which I know lots of people don't like Slick Draw, but it was recently buffed to feel really good. And if you add closing time in here, you could still run the 2 charge time mods, just some range here, add Slick Draw and closing time, and you're hitting 100 range with having 100 handling and super fast ready animation duration multiplier. The decreased auto aim isn't that bad, and closing time actually makes up for it a little bit. So I haven't tried that yet, but that could be really good. The main thing I wanted to point out here is that keep away and closing time together feel incredible. It feels like you can't miss. Very similar to Deliverance. Fortunately, these are in different slots, and this one's a raid weapon, and so if you don't want to do raids and you want that super accurate new fast precision, you can try out Axial Lacuna with keep away and closing time. Axial Lacuna is just found from doing the final shape destination, and that one's pretty easy to craft. So that one's definitely the easiest than a dungeon, than a raid for these precision frames that have been updated. And then, of course, like if you're going outside the crafted, Accelerando is from SRL, Main Ingredient is probably one of the easiest fusion rifles to get right now because it's always coming around as an available Vanguard activity. You don't even have to do strikes or anything like this. Just wait for it to show up as the featured loot for a portal activity and go to town. You can also buy them at Zavala along with Plug 1. Now, Plug 1 is a funny one. I think you can only get it from Zavala. I know it's a Pinnacle weapon, but I don't think it drops in the Pinnacle loot pool. I think you have to buy it from Zavala. So just a note on that. Maybe that's why I haven't really tried it out yet, because I gotta go actually make an intentional purchase rather than playing the game. Okay, now let's hit the high impact frames. There's quite a few here. I know a lot of people were sad Glacio Classum didn't come back as a tier 5. I'm a little disappointed too. That's a bummer. Especially because there's only 2 here that I'm really interested in, but let's talk about it. Aurvandil, this is the one that I was saying, I don't know what this thing could do that another fusion couldn't do better. So this one's a tough one. The main thing that I was going to say is that Chill Clip was here and they buffed Chill Clip to where it works a little bit better on higher impact stuff. But ultimately, you should use Burden of Guilt if you're going to be going for Chill Clip, or just a different thing than a rapid fire frame. And I think Burden of Guilt is the best Chill Clip weapon for this. And now that you can buy and focus those old Trials gears from Saint, it's super easy. So I'm going to skip that one a bit. Let me know if you have something Aurvandil does that I don't see why they brought it back. I'm just really confused. This should have, you know what this should have been? This should have been Snorri. Why wasn't this Snorri brought back? Because Snorri was a great precision frame fusion rifle that was really cool. And they brought back this one instead. Kind of bummed about it. Okay, next up is Loaded Question. Loaded Question also didn't get any perks really updated here. Not really sure why this one came back other than just to get another thing to grind for. It was always a really good fusion rifle because of that high aim assist, but I just pointed out a ton of precision frames that had super high aim assist. So I guess if you really like high impacts and are wanting to go for this, but high impacts are just slow and there's nothing to push the range here, so I can't go charge time and still hit 100 range. I have to go all range if I want to do anything here, and then stack some aim assist stuff like Eye of the Storm to help me out with accuracy and under pressure with that high aim assist. But I don't see a real reason why this one came back either. Yeah, all in all, it's just kind of like a really disappointing high impact category until you get to Wizened Rebuke again, the other Iron Banner fusion rifle. So this one's a new one. We're going to be looking out for it when Iron Banner hits again. It's got the great origin trait of Skulking Wolf to get you off of enemies' radars after a kill. And they finally did the one thing I wanted. This is the one thing I wanted coming up, and they actually did it in the final update, and that is give me Discord and backup plan on a high impact fusion rifle. What are we doing here? Do y'all realize what this is? This allows you to go, you can go all range here because speed's not going to matter. Watch this. You can go all range here. Run backup plan, only hit 4 of your 5 bolts, so 4 bolts to kill. It's not that hard to land 4 bolts, and then run Discord. So and both of these can be active at the same time because you get a kill and a swap is a part of the backup plan synergy anyway. And so you swap after getting a kill, and you get extra accuracy from Discord on your 100 range fusion rifle, and you're shooting with a 30% decreased charge time, 100 handling, only having to land 4 bolts, and then you get all of them back, and then you swap to your primary and put Harmony or Cascade Point or something like that on your primary, and you do the same thing on that. And if you're running double Discord, everything's auto reloading in between these. So you get your primary kill, you swap to the Wizened Rebuke, and then you get a kill with this one at super fast speed, high damage, 4 bolts at 100 range. Then you swap to your other weapon. It's automatically reloaded because you have Discord on it too. And then you just keep swapping back and forth. Discord. It's going to be really good. It's going to be really good. And even if you don't like that, there's tons of other good stuff here. You got the basic PvE stuff of Overflow and Reservoir Burst. So that's very, very basic. But you could run Discord Reservoir Burst if you want to. I would not run it with Volt Shot. That doesn't make any sense. But you could run Discord Control Burst. Successful Warm-Up is also another one I love using, hitting really hard. I mean, even in PvE, running that backup plan in Discord. But also, you could run Rangefinder and closing time and get that's 20 range right there automatically. And then you can bring down your charge time, run double charge time mods, still hit 100 range with between these two, and have a faster firing fusion rifle. Or if you just want, you know, just super accurate, you can go basic too. But there's a lot of unique stuff here that isn't available on other fusion rifles. You could do the deep shot with offhand strike and bring back your range and hit 100 range, and then have an offhand strike further than your damage fall off should go at hit fire. I don't like that necessarily. I think if you're gonna do that, successful warm up, offhand strike is way cooler. But I'm used to not having ammo, and that's what I'm really concerned about here, and that's why backup plan Discord is so cool, and I can't wait to grab one from Iron Banner. Okay, Exile's Curse. This one's kind of funny too. I love Exile's Curse, don't get me wrong. I think it's got some special sauce in it, and I think that having slide shot, that plus 20 range, going double charge time and letting closing time finish off the range for you. So you add 20 to this, that's 80, 97 range. You don't even really need closing time to max out your range. You'll be maxed out. I will say it has tap the trigger and under pressure here, so you could have that ridiculously accurate fusion. I think that probably is unique and worth mentioning, is under pressure tap with the 100 range. That's pretty deadly. It feels like it would be hard to miss with that. And Exile's Curse, even in its unenhanced form, was a really good fusion rifle. So I am actually re-recording here from my in-laws' house, in between houses, to tell you, I don't have a home right now, but to tell you that offhand strike and tap the trigger is actually really good on, I've said really good so many times this video, I apologize, but it's extremely good on Exile's Curse with a max range roll, because you are hitting so far. And I have a few clips here, but I don't even think I've hit close to what is the actual maximum you can hit firing after a kill. I've been playing around with it in Iron Banner as I've gone for Wizened Rebukes, and I thought that tap the trigger was going to activate. I just tap the trigger isn't on that many fusion rifles anymore, so I'm not messing with it that much. But I thought that you would only have a limited amount of time to use the perk during its duration, and that it wouldn't work properly on like a high impact. But it actually works really incredibly well, because it's controlling your recoil as also offhand strike is, and together these two combined on a fusion rifle that only takes 3 bolts when you're not using backup plan, it's incredibly good. It was just a lot of fun is what I would call it. It's very, very fun. If you're playing 6's and you just want to have a good time, high recommend to this. I think it is a very unique role. I think it's the only fusion that has this, and it's very fun. So if you love high impacts, I will actually give this one a pretty high go get it from Trials. Worth getting. Nox Perenial 5, not so much worth getting. I think you can do some of the strand stuff, you know. I think that elemental capacitor is probably the thing that helps out a lot here. I liked running it with arc a lot before to get because it's such a huge boost to handling. But even if you do that, it's not going to change any charge time stuff for you, or you'll be lacking range. I guess you could run Fragile Focus to get 79 range, 80. So you would have to run this setup here with 1 charge time, something like this. Because if you run double charge time, you're just not going to hit the right range. I just feel like there's a lot better options out there to hit 100 range and have better handling than having to go elemental capacitor. But if you like the frame, it's here for you. It's got all the same perks that it used to have. It's just been updated to be enhanced. I want to say this one is really easy to get to. You can roll these from the gunsmith, and I have like 200 gunsmith engrams right now, so you can just boom, 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 get the one you want. Even if it's not a tier 5, you can upgrade it later. Let's go to craftable stuff now, because this is actually like, along with Wizened Rebuke, Midha's Reckoning is very good. Very good for the one combo that it was good for before, but now it can get to 100 range as well, which is the backup plan and successful warm-up combo, which they switched around Wizened Rebuke so it can't do this anymore. So this is the place you would do it, and it's enhanced now. So check this out. You go through and add all range here, and I think you can run small bore and still hit 97 range. So yeah, you don't have to, you can add a little bit of stability in here, hit 97 range, get backup plan. So you swap to it. You don't have to get a kill or anything. You just swap to backup plan, get the shot off, and still get a fast follow-up shot thanks to successful warm-up. So no matter what way you're using this high impact, you will be shooting faster than a high impact should go, and your second shot's hitting just as hard as a high impact would hit. You can just hit 3 bolts. So 4 bolt backup plan, 3 bolt successful warm-up, 100 range. I was using this one in comp already, enhanced it, felt amazing. Just blowing people out of the water, especially if I lined up some ammo, felt really, really good. For PvE, it also has gear shift, which it just unfortunately doesn't have the auto reload stuff that you would want, but it does have cornered, which gear shift plus cornered is good, but it also has field prep to give you that extra ammo regeneration, which I feel like is also really good. So I can see a world in which if you have some other ability auto reloading your stuff, add in gear shift here, add in field prep for the extra ammo, and then you could run something like enhanced battery, some charge time stuff here, and something for some more handling like fluted. That way you're shooting way faster from the 2 charge time mods. You've got more ammo and you've got the buff from gear shift. Pretty good in PvE as well. So this one's definitely worth grabbing from. This is a King's Fall raid fusion rifle. And if you don't have the frame for it, definitely worth going in there and grabbing it from that raid. I actually haven't tried out the Eremite yet, but this is where I don't see the purpose of some of those other fusion rifles like Aurvandil or Nox Perenial V, is because I know people will disagree with me here, but slick draw is my favorite. This is my favorite slick draw weapon. It still is. I still love it. I stand by that video. I know some people just cannot believe that I recommended that, but now you can actually go get that 100 range version of the slick draw, and you can add in some stability if you're running void this way. So this would pump you up, let's see. So this would pump you up 25 stability. So you're at 54 stability, 100 range with 100 handling on this thing. It still fires slower. You could trade out one of these if you wanted to hit 90 range and go a little bit faster, but it's just a very, very good fusion rifle and surprisingly connects your shots even though you're using slick draw. I'd recommend slick draw on a high impact way faster than I would on adaptive or any of those other fusion rifles, just because of how hard it hits and only having to hit 3 bolts. The Eremite is one that you'll have to go to Sax's sheet for to help you remember where it is. This one is only from Xur 2. I'm surprised by that, actually. I thought this was going to be able to be found in Nightmare events. Is it not found in Nightmare events? Wow, that's surprising. You literally just have to get lucky with Xur with this thing. If I'm wrong on this, or if Sax's sheet is wrong, let me know. I'm actually going to follow up with him and talk to him about this, because that's kind of crazy. This is a very unique high impact fusion rifle. It's craftable, and I'm surprised you can't put on the classic loot pool and go farm it in any activity. Okay, last up is one I'm really sad about, these aggressive frame fusion rifles. And unfortunately, Tempered Dynamo coming back is an aggressive frame. They changed it, and it almost feels like a joke. Like it does and it doesn't. Because here's the deal. Aggressive frames are so good in PvE, like ridiculously good in PvE. And you can do the funny like backup plan Discord thing here and hit PvE enemies so hard and never lose any ammo as you're swapping through your ammo, or even something like ridiculous like rewind rounds in Discord, to where even when Discord runs out, you're getting ammo refilled from rewind rounds or something like that. But the joke here is for PvP, and that is with opening shot. Now, the funny thing with Tempered Dynamo before, whenever people would go and get this raid fusion rifle, which is not a raid anymore, you can get it from the playlist. I'll go over that in a second, but it was having opening shot here, which seems really good. Like even if it at its 50% value, getting almost 15 aim assist and 15 range, that's a lot for just shooting your first time. The difference is on a fusion rifle, this only works for the first bolt that is fired. And so previously on a precision frame, which is what this used to be, only the first bolt would get that extra aim assist and range, which would help you connect your shots. You know, I know there's some people that still like it. I'm just saying that's how it worked before. And what's funny, what the joke is that instead of fixing opening shot to work through a fusion rifle shot, they made the fusion rifle that had it, the only fusion rifle that had it, into an aggressive frame, which fires at the same time horizontally. So all the bolts, now work with opening. I'm pretty sure. I tried it out and it seemed like they were. I didn't like deep dive this or anything, so I'm trying to go over all of them at once. But the bottom line is this still sucks. You can get a roll with opening shot and 100 range, which I did, or 100 range with the help of opening shot, and it still sucks. Aggressive frames are just bad in PvP. There's no getting around that. So this is a PvE gun, and it's a really good PvE gun thanks to Discord. And even if you don't like Discord, jolting feedback does a really unique thing here where on one shot, if you're amplified, you can jolt your target. It only takes one shot because of how much power is coming out of this thing and how many bolts you shoot. So really good. I do wish Discord and Surrounded were in different corners. I wish Discord was over here and you could pair it with jolting feedback, because then you could jolt every single target and have unlimited ammo, and that would have been really fun. But these other options are pretty good too. Between overflow, rewind rounds, all the typical things you would do, or, supercharged magazine, which is while amplified ammo is gradually transferred from the reserves. The thing is you're still limited on ammo. These things don't have an incredible amount of ammo. And then on top of this, though, even if you don't go Discord, I think the other thing I would recommend is Gear Shift, because Gear Shift is going to give you that 35% damage buff once you stack it up, and you run that with Supercharged Magazine. These both play off of Amplified. Very, very good. And if you're worried about ammo, it does have the impromptu ammunition, which I'm just now realizing if you run impromptu ammunition and disc, you're never going to run out of ammo, right? Because weapon kills are granting 15% improved special ammo and giving you extra heavy ammo, and you're using this thing with unlimited ammo half the time probably anyway in PvE if you're swapping back and forth. So this thing's an ammo generator is really what it is. And y'all, what is happening here? You also get more ammo from the origin trait as well, Forge's Kin. So this is the ammo generator gun. There is no competitor. I can't think of anything that does a combination like that. I'm gonna have to get one of these. I didn't think I was gonna be grinding for this that hard. Like I like Discord with some of this other stuff. I love Discord and PvE. I like Gear Shift, but those three things together. I want one. Okay, back to some normal stuff. So let me talk Tahoma for a second. The Distortion Event Fusion Rifle. This is another aggressive frame. I really wish they didn't make so many aggressive frames. Look, take a second and just look. 3 redone aggressive frames when we already had so many is tough. I guess they had to make one for every element probably as a part of that. We already had an arc one though. I don't know. It's just a weird choice. We already had a strand one too. What are we doing here? So, but we got them. Here they are. This one does have aggregate charge. This is one that I really don't know what you would want from this. There's nothing here that I would really want to go for over the other aggressive frames that we already have. I really don't understand why this wasn't a high impact. We could have had another high impact or adaptive that fit into this role. This almost feels like we ran out of time. And I'm going to be really embarrassed if y'all find something here that I don't see. I guess you could combine collective perks here, but that's just combining some ability stuff that doesn't. I know some people like those perks. I guess that's the thing that I'm seeing here. If you see something else, please let me know, because I don't see any other reason. It's the reason that I never go for distortion stuff. There's just not that much there that I'm interested in. Coriolis Force, also previously a joke. They did add dimensional shift, some other stuff to this. I don't see why we would use this. It's got the impromptu ammo as well. But yeah, I don't see a reason. I don't see a reason I would use any of this over the other. We've got some great aggressive frames. I love Curios. I love Tempered Dynamo, what it's doing. Those are really the two that I would go for. I also like Nox Side Reel all right. I'm definitely more interested in Tempered Dynamo and Cororis, but that's just me. And that is every single New fusion rifle, and that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff to go for. And so I'm very busy trying to get these rolls. I would say that my top priorities right now, my first top priorities were trying out some of the old crafted rapid fire frames, and then but my top priority, like what I'm going for, was Cartesian coordinate first, because it's the only rapid fire with Discord, and it's hitting high range and has that crazy aim assist. It would be getting a max range Null Composure, because there's nothing else that's that fast that hits that high of range at base. And then the Pressurized Precision and VS Gravitic Arrest for adaptives. So good. I can't wait to grab both of these, but neither of them have been featured yet for either the dungeon or Iron Banner. The other Iron Banner, the Wizened Rebuke, having that backup plan Discord combo, I can't believe they actually did it. Precision frames, so much good stuff. Main ingredient, Deliverance. I didn't care for plug 1 as much, but Axial Lacuna, really good stuff. And Epicurean with backup plan was really good as well. All of them hitting crazy range with a lot of accuracy. And then finally, in the high impact, I already talked, Wizened Rebuke, and that really was the standout for me. Also, the Eremite, I haven't tried it out yet, but that's another one I'm going to try out. And unfortunately, I didn't want to be excited about this, but Timbered Dynamo, I actually like that ammo generation combo. I really got to get it now for PvE. It's calling my name to be able to shoot fast, do high damage, and have just tons of ammo flying everywhere. It even generates heavy ammo. So yeah, I'm excited about all this stuff. I can't believe how much is added. There's slight disappointments here or there, but overall, cannot believe it. Please subscribe, though, if you liked all of this. I'm going to be doing a major breakdown of every single fusion rifle in the game. At some point, I am in the middle of moving right now, unfortunately. During all of this, I'm literally leaving my house in 3 days, and I have lived here forever, so it is a big undertaking. But I'm super excited to dive into all of this with all of you. There's so much to go over, and this is just fusion rifles. I haven't even talked about the sidearms, the auto rifles. There's so much good stuff with this update, and I'm not going anywhere. There's no other game that I really want to be playing right now, and nothing I do depends on this channel. I just do it because it's fun, and I hope y'all will hang out with me and have some fun too. So thanks for joining me this time. This has been Lego the Flash. Until next time, GG. Which it just unfortunately doesn't have the auto reload stuff that you would want, but it does have cornered, which gear shift plus cornered is good, but it also has field prep to give you that extra ammo regeneration, which I feel like is also really good. So I can see a world in which if you have some other ability auto reloading your stuff, add in gear shift here, add in field prep for the extra ammo, and then you could run something like enhanced battery, some charge time stuff here, and something for some more handling like fluted. That way you're shooting way faster from the 2 charge time mods. You've got more ammo and you've got the buff from gear shift. Pretty good in PvE as well. So this one's definitely worth grabbing from. This is a King's Fall raid fusion rifle. And if you don't have the frame for it, definitely worth going in there and grabbing it from that raid. I actually haven't tried out the Eremite yet, but this is where I don't see the purpose of some of those other fusion rifles like Aurvandil or Nox Perenial V, is because I know people will disagree with me here, but Slick Draw is my favorite. This is my favorite Slick Draw weapon. It still is. I still love it. I stand by that video. I know some people just cannot believe that I recommended that, but now you can actually go get that 100 range version of the Slick Draw, and you can add in some stability if you're running Void this way. So this would pump you up, let's see. So this would pump you up 25 stability. So you're at 54 stability, 100 range with 100 handling on this thing. It still fires slower. You could trade out one of these if you wanted to hit 90 range and go a little bit faster, but it's just a very, very good fusion rifle and surprisingly connects your shots even though you're using Slick Draw. I'd recommend Slick Draw on a high impact way faster than I would on Adaptive or any of those other fusion rifles, just because of how hard it hits and only having to hit 3 bolts. The Eremite is one that you'll have to go to Sax's sheet for to help you remember where it is. This one is only from Zur 2. I'm surprised by that, actually. I thought this was going to be able to be found in Nightmare events. Is it not found in Nightmare events? Wow, that's surprising. You literally just have to get lucky with Zur with this thing. If I'm wrong on this, or if Sax's sheet is wrong, let me know. I'm actually going to follow up with him and talk to him about this, because that's kind of crazy. This is a very unique high impact fusion rifle. It's craftable, and I'm surprised you can't put on the classic loot pool and go farm it in any activity. Okay, last up is one I'm really sad about, these aggressive frame fusion rifles. And unfortunately, Tempered Dynamo coming back is an aggressive frame. They changed it, and it almost feels like a joke. Like it does and it doesn't. Because here's the deal. Aggressive frames are so good in PvE, like ridiculously good in PvE. And you can do the funny like backup plan Discord thing here and hit PvE enemies so hard and never lose any ammo as you're swapping through your ammo, or even something like ridiculous like rewind rounds in Discord, to where even when Discord runs out, you're getting ammo refilled from rewind rounds or something like that. But the joke here is for PvP, and that is with opening shot. Now, the funny thing with Tempered Dynamo before, whenever people would go and get this raid fusion rifle, which is not a raid anymore, you can get it from the playlist. I'll go over that in a second, but it was having opening shot here, which seems really good. Like even if it at its 50% value, getting almost 15 aim assist and 15 range, that's a lot for just shooting your first time. The difference is on a fusion rifle, this only works for the first bolt that is fired. And so previously on a precision frame, which is what this used to be, only the first bolt would get that extra aim assist and range, which would help you connect your shots. You know, I know there's some people that still like it. I'm just saying that's how it worked before. And what's funny, what the joke is that instead of fixing opening shot to work through a fusion rifle shot, they made the fusion rifle that had it, the only fusion rifle that had it, into an aggressive frame, which fires at the same time horizontally. So all the bolts now work with opening. I'm pretty sure. I tried it out and it seemed like they were. I didn't like deep dive this or anything, so I'm trying to go over all of them at once. But the bottom line is this still sucks. You can get a roll with opening shot and 100 range, which I did, or 100 range with the help of opening shot, and it still sucks. Aggressive frames are just bad in PvP. There's no getting around that. So this is a PvE gun, and it's a really good PvE gun thanks to Discord. And even if you don't like Discord, jolting feedback does a really unique thing here, where on one shot, if you're amplified, you can jolt your target. It only takes one shot because of how much power is coming out of this thing and how many bolts you shoot. So really good. I do wish Discord and Surrounded were in different corners. I wish Discord was over here and you could pair it with jolting feedback, because then you could jolt every single target and have unlimited ammo, and that would have been really fun. But these other options are pretty good too, between overflow, rewind rounds, all the typical things you would do, or, you know, supercharged magazine, which is while amplified ammo is gradually transferred from the reserves. The thing is you're still limited on ammo. These things don't have an incredible amount of ammo. And then on top of this, though, even if you don't go Discord, I think the other thing I would recommend is Gear Shift, because Gear Shift is going to give you that 35% damage buff once you stack it up and you run that with supercharged magazine. These both play off of amplified. Very, very good. And if you're worried about ammo, it does have the impromptu ammunition, which I'm just now realizing if you run impromptu ammunition and disc, you're never going to run out of ammo, right? Because weapon kills are granting 15% improved special ammo and giving you extra heavy ammo, and you're using this thing with unlimited ammo half the time probably anyway in PvE if you're swapping back and forth. So this thing's an ammo generator is really what it is. And y'all, what is happening here? You also get more ammo from the origin trait as well, Forge's Kin. So this is the ammo generator gun. There is no competitor. I can't think of anything that does a combination like that. I'm gonna have to get one of these. I didn't think I was gonna be grinding for this that hard. Like I like Discord with some of this other stuff. I love Discord and PvE. I like Gear Shift, but that's those three things together. I want one. Okay, back to some normal stuff. So let me talk Tahoma for a second. The Distortion Event Fusion Rifle. This is another aggressive frame. I really wish they didn't make so many aggressive frames. Look, take a second and just look. 3 redone aggressive frames when we already had so many is tough. I guess they had to make one for every element probably as a part of that. We already had an arc one though. I don't know. It's just a weird choice. We already had a strand one too. What are we doing here? So, but we got them. Here they are. This one does have aggregate charge. This is one that I really don't know what you would want from this. There's nothing here that I would really want to go for over the other aggressive frames that we already have. I really don't understand why this wasn't a high impact. We could have had another high impact or adaptive that fit into this role. This almost feels like we ran out of time. And I'm going to be really embarrassed if y'all find something here that I don't see. I guess you could combine collective perks here, but that's just combining some ability stuff that doesn't. I know some people like those perks. I guess that's the thing that I'm seeing here. If you see something else, please let me know, because I don't see any other reason. It's the reason that I never go for distortion stuff. There's just not that much there that I'm interested in. Coriolis Force, also previously a joke. They did add Dimensional Shift, some other stuff to this. I don't see why we would use this. It's got the impromptu ammo as well. But yeah, I don't see a reason I would use any of this over the other. We've got some great aggressive frames. I love Curios. I love Tempered Dynamo, what it's doing. Those are really the two that I would go for. I also like Nox Side Reel all right. I'm definitely more interested in Tempered Dynamo and Cororis, but that's just me. And that is every single new fusion rifle, and that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff to go for. And so I'm very busy trying to get these rolls. I would say that my top priorities right now, my first top priorities were trying out some of the old crafted rapid fire frames, but my top priority, like what I'm going for, was Cartesian coordinate first, because it's the only rapid fire with Discord, and it's hitting high range and has that crazy aim assist. It would be getting a max range Null Composure, because there's nothing else that's that fast that hits that high of range at base. And then the Pressurized Precision and VS Gravitic Arrest for adaptives. So good. I can't wait to grab both of these, but neither of them have been featured yet for either the Dungeon or Iron Banner. The other Iron Banner, the Wizened Rebuke, having that backup plan Discord combo, I can't believe they actually did it. Precision frames, so much good stuff. Main ingredient, Deliverance. I didn't care for plug 1 as much, but Axial Lacuna, really good stuff. And Epicurean with backup plan was really good as well. All of them hitting crazy range with a lot of accuracy. And then finally, in the high impact, I already talked, Wizened Rebuke, and that really was the standout for me. Also, the Eremite, I haven't tried it out yet, but that's another one I'm going to try out. And unfortunately, I didn't want to be excited about this, but Tempered Dynamo, I actually like that ammo generation combo. I really got to get it now for PvE. It's calling my name to be able to shoot fast, do high damage, and have just tons of ammo flying everywhere. It even generates heavy ammo. So yeah, I'm excited about all this stuff. I can't believe how much is added. There's slight disappointments here or there, but overall, cannot believe it. Please subscribe, though, if you liked all of this. I'm going to be doing a major breakdown of every single fusion rifle in the game. At some point, I am in the middle of moving right now, unfortunately, during all of this. I'm literally leaving my house in 3 days, and I have lived here forever, so it is a big undertaking. But I'm super excited to dive into all of this with all of you. There's so much to go over, and this is just fusion rifles. I haven't even talked about the sidearms, the auto rifles. There's so much good stuff with this update, and I'm not going anywhere. There's no other game that I really want to be playing right now, and nothing I do depends on this channel. I just do it because it's fun, and I hope y'all will hang out with me and have some fun too. So thanks for joining me this time. This has been Lego the Flash. Until next time, GG.